This is something I knew this was going to happen. See, even back when like COVID passports were just a whisper. Remember when COVID passports were just a conspiracy theory? Remember that? Back when all that stuff was happening, I knew the SNP would do it. Basically, any authoritarian measure, assume the SNP will do it. I would have bet my life savings on it. Apart from 1%, you know. You always allow that little bit just in case. But basically, the Scottish Government has voted in vaccine passports, as did the English Government, but they're now pulling it back because they've realised what a horrible, horrific authoritarian idea it is and how it would basically hamper the standard citizens' ability to live a regular and normal life. However, you know, obviously SNP, being the authoritarians that they are doubling down on this awful, terrible, horrible idea that literally creates a subclass in society. So this is state-sanctioned inequality. Vaccine passports will be worth it, Surgeon says. Yeah, for you. No, not for everyone else. Nicola Sturgeon said she hopes vaccine passports won't be necessary for long. Yeah, I've got a bridge to sell you. Shut up. Nicola Sturgeon has insisted vaccine passports will make a difference in reducing the spread of coronavirus and also reducing the quality of the subclasses' lives, but hopes that they will not be required for the long term. It's just for a little while, guys. It's only for a little while. It's just 2 weeks to slow the spread. 2 weeks. It's just 2 weeks to slow the spread. These COVID powers are only temporary. The ones that the Scottish Government is now currently trying to make permanent. Yeah, yeah. You know, fool me once. Shame on you. Fool me 300 odd fucking times. Shut up. Shut up. Nobody's buying it. Nobody's buying it, you dumb bitch. Is it only 2 weeks to slow the spread? Yeah, these temporary COVID powers are only temporary, even though we're currently in the process of now making them permanent. I did a video on that not that long ago as well. Well, these vaccine passports would be required for the long term. Shut up. Shut up. Just be honest about it now. Just be honest. Just say, yeah, we're bringing this in. We're bringing it in, you're getting it, and it's here forever. Stop lying. Like, why are you even still attempting to lie? Like, we know you're talking shit. Like, Scotland's First Minister said requiring proof of vaccination to nightclubs and large events will be worth it if it helps to keep businesses open and reduce the likelihood of restrictions being reimposed. Having venues that have actually had to have vaccine passports, it actually damages their revenue. It actually causes them a shit ton of problems, as has been demonstrated in places that have activated them. The UK government shelved plans for vaccine certification over the weekend after backlash from Tory MPs because it was an awful authoritarian idea. But Scottish ministers are persisting with plans to require the vaccine passports at indoor seated events of 500 or more attendees, unseated outdoor live events with more than 4,000 people in the audience, and any event of any nature which has more than 10,000 people in attendance. I'm going to need to check the vaccine passports of 10,000 people. When announcing the plans, Ms Sturgeon argued that requiring proof of vaccination would both help to reduce the spread of the virus and encourage people to get vaccinated. That's the goal. That's the real goal there. That's the real reason. Oh, you want a normal life? Do what we say. Your body, my choice. Get vaccinated if you want. Get vaccinated if you want. Just as long as you're doing it without coercion. If you are doing it of your own free will, I fully support and endorse that. Your body, your choice. If somebody's forcing you, well, it's one of the main reasons I'm not getting it. Speaking at the SNP's conference, you can come to my fucking house and hold me down and put it on my arm if you want. Well, you can try. Miss Sturgeon suggested that the measure could prevent further restrictions. No, it won't. No, it will not. What's going to protect us for the SNP? Jesus. If the simple act of showing that we've been vaccinated helps keep businesses open and our lives free of restrictions, then I believe it will be worth it. Yeah, right, okay then. Okay, we'll tell you what then, we'll do the COVID passports, and as soon as the COVID passports come in, you get rid of every other restriction and they never come back. We'll meet you in the middle. if the point of this is to stop restrictions and get us back to normal, you get to bring in the COVID passports and then you remove immediately every single other restriction. Compromise. Tell you what, we'll meet you in the middle. If that's the point, then surely you'd have no problem agreeing to something like that. Urging people to get vaccinated, continuing to wear face masks, social distancing and encouraging ventilation indoors. Ms Sturgeon said all of these basic mitigations make a difference. So too will the limited system of vaccine certification approved by Parliament last week. I hope it won't be necessary for long. Oh no, something that gives us a lot of power. I hope it won't be necessary for long. Shut up. But if the simple act of showing that we've been vaccinated helps keep businesses open and our lives free of restrictions, then I believe it will be worth it. Yep. A huge measure that lets the government control an enormous portion of our lives and creates a whole subclass. Of course it's worth it. To you. She continued, the sacrifices we are all being asked to make now. We're not being asked. We're not being asked. Yous are just voting their shit in Parliament and then we have to obey it and we've got no fucking say. Right? I don't like using this phrase because it puts me in a part of politics that I don't belong in, right? But we were never asked. Right? And I don't mean that about the other thing. Right? May not be as great as a few months ago, but they're still hard. And Ms Sturgeon stressed that a great national effort is still needed to tackle the coronavirus pandemic, despite the positive game changer of vaccines. She told SNP members the collective national effort over these past months has been nothing short of extraordinary. I am acutely aware of the sacrifices people have made and the hardships many are still enduring, caused by your mandates. I will never find the words to adequately express my gratitude, but that great national effort is needed still. To save lives and protect our NHS, we must drive infections down again. The government must lead, but we need the help of every person and every business in Scotland. Well then, but it would be nice if you were to ask them for their help willingly. If they wanted to do it willingly, it was absolutely up to them. Private people, private businesses, that's their business. Completely up to them. However, you're not asking for their help. You're taking it from them. Thanking people who have had their vaccination, she described it as the most precious gift any of us can give our loved ones. to quote a brilliant Scottish comedy, birthday card pish. Birthday card pish. And urged anyone yet to be vaccinated to attend the drop-in clinic. Ms Sturgeon also called for anti-vaxxers to cease and desist from spreading misinformation about the coronavirus vaccines. Addressing them directly, she said to the small but noisy minority who knowingly spread fear and misinformation about the vaccines, I say this, stop being selfish and irresponsible. Stop putting the health and well-being of the country at risk. It's time to cease and desist. Getting vaccinated is an expression of solidarity. It is about helping each other and helping the NHS. Following the UK government's decision to scrap its vaccination passport plan, Scottish Liberal Democrat leader Alexander Cole-Hamilton called for the Scottish government to do the same. Yes, they absolutely should. Vaccine passports harm principle of government by consent in this country. Vaccines are vital, but a free society should never compel its citizens to receive medical treatment. If you restrict the freedom of those who haven't had it, you're compelling them. Yes, you absolutely are. He says it's sad to see that Conservative government in Westminster has more concern for medical privacy than the SNP Green Coalition in Scotland does. The solution to the current crisis is vaccinations and a functioning contact tracing system, not COVID ID cards. You know, your little armband. You shouldn't have to share your private medical information with someone who is not your clinician. Absolutely fair. Scottish Liberal Democrats will campaign for these liberal and intrusive ID cards to be abolished here in Scotland. Liberal Lib Dems actually acting like Lib Dems. I thought those days were over. I thought those days were long gone. Jeez, oh, there you are. Jesus Christ, the Lib Dems actually remembered what type of party they're supposed to be. Good heavens. Scottish Conservative spokesman for the COVID recovery, Murdo Fraser, Big Murdo, described the proposals as half-baked and accused ministers of making this plan up as they go along. That's what the SNP have done for years. The SNP bulldozed the vaccine passport scheme through Parliament, relying on the support of their spineless Green coalition partners who previously opposed it, he said. It's unacceptable that the SNP government is still filling in the blanks of such a major policy. Now it seems that they are considering spot checks, but only your papers, but only after football clubs made it clear their plan was unworkable. The scheme will come into force in a matter of weeks, and the SNP still can't provide any clarity on key questions surrounding its implementation. Adverts, adverts, adverts. Yeah, this is an absolute half-baked plan. It massively compels people. You are basically saying, oh, you want to have a normal life again? Do what we tell you. Put this stuff in your body. Right? And what about people who can't be vaccinated? What about people that have like immuno diseases and stuff like that, or people who have heart problems, or people who have any other type of issue but they can't get vaccinated? But fuck them. It's not their fault they were born like that. Right? It's not their fault, nature dealt them a shit hand and then the government's like, well, guess you're just never allowed a social life again. Yeah, see all the bands and music you like? You will never see them in concert. You know what, man? Like, it's just an absolutely terrible, rotten plan, and, it's an authoritarian plan. Of course the SNP voted it in. Of course they want it. And see this whole, we hope it won't be for long. It will be here for as long as they can keep it here.